Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I am Zach.
And I'm a velociraptor.
No, that is my thing.
I get the velociraptor. And I'm Pepper.
That's right. No one knows who either of us are, so you better tell them. We are from Not Your Average Tabletop, and we are doing our first impression. I didn't even remember what we were doing. We're doing something with dinosaurs. Yeah, we're doing our first impression on the newer Pandasaurus game, Dinosaur World.
Yes, the sequel or reboot or whatever you want to call it to Dinosaur Island.
Mm-hmm. Which was a very solid worker placement game that we both liked quite a bit, and still like quite a bit. So we were definitely looking forward. We were definitely looking forward to it, and I was looking forward to it slightly more than he is, because he used to have it in his top 10, if you didn't know. And now it's hanging in the top 50
just barely hanging in.
You're lucky the Velociraptor grabbed you on the edge
with the claw.
He's not letting you put him on the top 50. Yes, because of that, we were definitely looking forward to this one, or I know I was.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
And then this was also one that I had sitting here wanting to unbox for almost a month. So it was really, it felt like a long time. So I kind of had gotten to the point where I was almost like, I don't even want to play it anymore because I just had to wait so long to unbox it. But I wanted to wait to unbox it with you because I think it was one that I thought would be a little more enjoyable.
More than one person to unbox that, because we got it along with the 3 expansions.
Yes.
As well as the Dinosaur Island Roar and Write game.
Yeah, I think we got I believe it was the all-in pledge from the Kickstarter. So yeah, we were definitely looking forward to it. We did not play with the expansions in our. No. So we've played this once, right?
Yes.
Or did you play?
I played solo the night before.
Yeah. So played once or twice. Neither time with the expansions. I think we kind of slightly looked at a little bit of what they do, and they look pretty interesting. They look like they add a little decent amount to the game, or change a few things up a decent amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were your hopes or expectations going into this one? Said they were high for both of us, but I guess I don't know for sure that they were high for you.
They were high, but going into it and having played Dinosaur Island, that probably hindered this a little bit, just because it's like it might be a little too similar. And since I have played that game already, it probably stopped me from getting as excited about this over another brand new game that looks awesome that I haven't experienced before. But then once we unboxed this and saw everything in it, we have kind of metal coins here.
I had totally forgotten about the metal coins.
More great dice, that amazing bag, dual-layered player boards, even more dinos with their screen printed, translucent. It probably got it up to a 10 excitement going into it.
Yeah, I think for a while there, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, I really like Dinosaur Island, so I don't know if, I have too much hype in my head that, oh, that one was really good, so this one will be, equally as good or better possibly. And I knew it was supposedly quite a different game based on the Kickstarter. I hadn't really looked back at it that much throughout waiting for the Kickstarter to come or arrive or whatever, deliver. But I knew it was supposed to be quite different, but still have a few similarities to the original game, a few nods to that. So overall, I was hoping it would be really awesome. And like you said, once we unboxed it, I was like, okay, I do want to really play this again right now, because it had kind of kept kind of dwindling down a little bit, the excitement. And then when it arrived, the box arrived, and it shot back up, and then it was starting to dwindle back down, waiting to unbox it, and then it shot back up again. So I was definitely looking forward to playing it. Had pretty high expectations, but I tried to slow myself down just a little bit, just in case, because sometimes the sequels aren't as good as the original.
Or maybe, I mean, just way too high expectations. Like, it could be everything that you want it to be, but if your expectations are that high, it's just going to kind of meet it and not feel as great. So it's not the most healthy thing to be so hyped for something.
Right.
So you kind of have to tamp it down a little bit.
But yeah, overall, I was definitely looking forward to getting it played.
Yes. So then we did get it played.
We did get it played.
And first off, I think that having played Dinosaur Island, even though they are very different games, I think that makes learning this one, at least for me. I mean, I may not have taught it that well, but learning it, for me, a bit of a breeze. That's one of my favorite things is also, I had watched a playthrough for it, but when you can kind of go through the rule book, and it just confirms all of everything that you think you know about the game, and I think that can really solidify the rules. If it just makes sense. I feel a lot of the rules in this are pretty intuitive, especially if you have played the original game.
Yeah, I felt very similar. There's some things in it that definitely are very, very similar to the original game. Which gives you definitely a good base to start with.
Yeah.
To kind of know, okay, this is gonna, especially I think the DNA part was very similar. The DNA and then the security and stuff. Building the dinosaurs was pretty much the same exact thing.
Yep.
So having that portion of it kind of solidified for us, made the other part exciting.
Yes, yeah, because if you're kind of struggling to learn and understand it, I feel that could kind of hurt a first experience, and probably a reason why we go so long from our first play of games to get it back to the table, because it's so hard to learn some of them, mostly your type of games.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it really took the pressure off on playing it, so we could just enjoy it.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the first play we had of it. Adding your own sort of tile tableau, that was definitely interesting. More interesting. I wasn't sure how interesting it would be, but I think it ended up being more interesting than I thought it would be. And then going out with your vehicle, your Jeeple, and driving around and getting excitement. I really liked how that worked. That was a really cool idea that I don't know if I've seen in other games where. I mean, I'm sure I have, and it's just done differently. But where things kind of get to be less and less points as you do them more, type thing. Well, it's not really point. It sort of point, sort of not. But I really found that really cool how that worked. Where you kind of want to set yourself up for a good track. And one thing that I didn't really think of, I think there's a point in this game where.
You need to
kind of
stop getting excitement.
Yeah.
And start getting points.
Yes. There's that, and then there's also the placement. So, halfway through the game, you have to replace kind of where your Jeeple starts from, and it has to be 3 tiles away. So, I found by the time I had kind of forgotten about that in my head, and then I had not set myself up well for that to be replaced. And that kind of hurt me a little bit. I wasn't able to get as successful of Jeeple trips throughout the park as I had previously in the beginning of the game. So there is that. It's not like you have to think that far ahead. You don't have to have a perfect... I don't think you have to have a perfect setup, but you definitely want it to be set up well enough that you can still do your Jeeple trips because they require the excitement to go into certain tiles. So if you don't have that, it can pretty much kill you where you are. You don't really have the option to do it, which kind of can be not as satisfying.
Yeah, because I know you had a turn there where it was just really hard to figure out how you are going to make the best use out of your movement. But yeah, I was excited because obviously the Jeeple looks awesome. It's a really cool piece. But yeah, it didn't seem... I was worried that you wouldn't get to do that much. Because you're only moving 3, maybe 4 spots, possibly 5 if you get to the top of that track, which neither of us did. Movement. And I thought, because that's kind of where you customize your whole game, And where in the original Dinosaur Island, you could kind of get custom rooms for actions, as well as custom specialist to use. So I was worried about the variability with just having all of that in your tiles, and you're only going to get to be able to activate a few of them. But I didn't see that to be a problem at all. I felt that my park was very unique compared to yours. I felt I got to do a lot of different things with it.
Yeah, I had that same feeling, at least especially early on. I felt like there was, I got to do more than enough on most of the stuff. I mean, obviously, I'd always like to do more, but I felt like it was a good amount of stuff. And I think if you did too much, then it might get to be too much. But, yeah, I'm trying to think. You definitely have to set up the... I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say.
Stalling out here. Got distracted by the velociraptors.
Yes. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yes. Looking back, I had picked...
Velociraptors are always the answer.
I had brought up velociraptors multiple times. That's what I was going to say. I think the two tiles I started with were probably not the best two options. I should not have probably picked that second velociraptor thing. That wasn't probably the best use. That's what I was going to say. So I kind of set myself up not at the best to begin with. Because I don't remember what you got as your first extra
I think I got an herbivore as well as an incubator, which let me pretty much, if I use a blue worker there, and again, all the little meeples that you can draft at the beginning of the game, I really like that. You get 9 of them, which is quite a few. I think that's the perfect amount for the amount of actions you can do around. And all the different colors can possibly give you different bonuses or be used to activate certain tiles. I really like that aspect of it.
Kind of reminded me a little bit of Paladins.
I've only played Paladins once.
Sorry.
But, okay, I'll give you that. But so you never have to play Paladins again, right? If this beats it.
Well, we'll talk about that.
But yeah, the incubator that I had pretty much let me build 2 dinosaurs, which usually that takes 1 worker per dinosaur that you build, and this tile also gave me a 1 discount, so I was able to get a good amount of points and excitement and really drive towards the goals that were set out at the beginning of the game. You really struggled for that, and I think that was probably just because of that tile. Because there's one that you needed to have 6 dinosaurs, and I kind of went there, built 2 herbivores, went there, built 2 small carnivores.
Yeah, I played way differently, I feel like, than I normally do. Well, to start the game, I really didn't look at those tiles. I just picked 2. Just randomly, and I jokingly took both of them that said Velociraptor. It did kind of set me, and then I wasn't really focusing on the goals. I didn't know how much would be a lot of points. But then I think you ended up getting all the goals, and I think I got second on 1. I might have gotten 2.
I think I ended up getting like 18 points from it, and you got like 6, which was a big difference. Wouldn't have decided the game.
No, it was quite a bit further apart than that. But yeah, that was it was not my best game. But yes, like you brought up the different colors of workers, and I found that very interesting. How not only that, but then not only you could use them on the public actions, which is similar to the base game, Dinosaur Island. You could the first thing you could do was place them in some of those
get
dice spots.
Get
you
some
get
DNA dice,
and then it would go to where you could buy buildings and specialists, right? And then you kind of got to work on your own board. This is similar to that, but it was slightly different because the actions out there, depending on the colors you got, you could kind of get either discounts or bonuses if you use certain colors on not only the actions out on the public board, but also your player board. And also, when you took your Jeep through those tiles, like you said, yours took a blue worker. So you kind of had to divide your workers not only on your action spaces, potential actions you could take, but also you had to have some left over to activate any of your tiles that you put out. And I found that really cool and interesting, that just kind of planning. It kind of sets itself up for some possible AP, analysis paralysis. But it's, as long as you're setting them down ahead of time, because it could be, if you're not paying attention, it can be really easy to forget that. Yeah. And then you could be in a lot of trouble too. Yeah. If you don't have that planned out, you almost have to place them down
I
first.
definitely recommend that you place your meeples, at least that you're planning to place on the tiles to activate on your Jeeple tour. I would say you have to place those there right away.
Because, otherwise, I think it's just too hard to remember. Yeah. Because, like you said, you do get a decent, you get 9, so that's a lot to remember. I got to remember to keep maybe these 2 or 3 for these to activate these hexes. Especially, most of the time you'll have your route probably figured out before you do your other stuff, unless you're going to add another tile. That'd be about the only time you'd maybe change it. But no, I really liked what that had to add.
But and you get a lot, but there's also a lot of neutral workers. I think you get 4 neutral white ones, and I think that was also another perfect balance of, if you just had all colors, that might be a little overwhelming. Deciding, okay, now where do I use this blue one? Where's that best? Or this yellow, this thing. You have a few neutral workers that you can throw to some actions as well.
Because, usually then you can identify pretty easily, like, well, if this tile requires a blue, I got to put my one blue guy there, so that one's accounted for. And maybe this one requires a yellow, so I got to put a yellow guy there. And then you kind of get rid of those first, maybe, and then kind of figure out what you want to do with those other ones.
Again, I really like that your tiles that you activate, they get a little more boring, I guess. Apparently, a dinosaur park is boring.
Right.
But I really like that, so it kind of prevents you from hitting the same tiles over and over and over again. And you can still do that, and I still activated my best tiles most of the time, but I definitely had to pay experience, which got me having to go build some pretty big dangerous dinos to be able to get that experience from them.
Excitement.
I always call it experience. I don't know why. It's not even close.
It's pretty close.
It's close spelling.
It's a Teotihuacan type thing.
Yes. Yes. I really like that aspect of it. I think that's something that you could kind of maybe forget too. It's like, I have to pay to use that. I could see some people missing that and really being like, dang.
Yeah, that was one of the things, like I said, that's kind of one of the things that I dealt with. That was probably one of the only, wasn't even like a negative, it was just bad planning on my part, but I could see that being very disappointing if you didn't put something near your base that has that excitement, so then you can easily go through some of those ones again, because some of them, like you said, just lose you excitement, could lose you 2 or 3 excitement, but you have to be able to afford that ahead of time, so you have to go through something in your part that gains you 3 excitement, because at the end of each round your excitement goes back down to 0. So you have to get back up before you can spend it again, which is also an interesting thing, because I had also thought at the beginning of the game, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get my excitement way up, because I think maybe you had mentioned it. I might have missed it.
I think I forgot to mention that it resets.
That it resets. So I was like, well, I got to get this up and just get myself this constant income of a high excitement level. But I should have known that didn't really make sense that you would have gone up, because I was already at like 8 out of 20 in one turn. So that probably didn't really make sense. But yeah.
I really like the income in here too. That plus when you can upgrade your Jeeple to get more movement, you can also slot in a instant benefit that you get, and you'll also gain those benefits that you slot in every income. And I feel like you can kind of customize your game that way, because you can get DNA, you can get an extra worker, which I used to pretty much for sure myself a blue some of the times, so that I could activate that tile I had. I feel like that can add to the customization of the game, and also kind of make it a little easier for you to be able to do the things you want.
Right, yeah. And I think that was another thing that I don't know. I'd have to play it more to really know, but I feel like I failed on that as well, because I picked the security when really that one I probably should have done either second, or if I got to I think I ended up getting to the third, but it was really late in the game. But I probably shouldn't have done that on my first one, just because the security is pretty decently cheap early on.
Yeah.
So just getting that as a bonus just kind of bumps you up too quickly to really to be efficient. But
Yeah.
it probably wasn't the best choice. I probably should have picked money, because money ended up being pretty useful in the game.
You had quite a bit of, I keep on calling it experience, excitement, and I didn't get as much usually on average, but I did have my money slotted in, so I was getting 2 coins every income, which I think really helped me out and kept me ahead of you just enough to be able to hold my lead.
Yeah. So after all that, what did you end up giving it for a kind of initial score?
I was worried that this would be tougher, but I think without the limitation of your DNA, because in the original you had to kind of set your ceiling to how much you can hold with that, and I feel like it's easier to up your security in this one. I think it was a lot more forgiving than I thought it would be. So I am going to give this one...
Oh boy. A 3.
A 9 to 9.5.
Ooh. That is getting up there.
Pretty good first impression.
Pretty excited about it, he is. Wow. That's pretty high up there. It sounds like he probably wants to get those expansions played as soon as possible. Wow. I wasn't sure if it'd be that high for you.
I didn't think it could be. Think it could be. Now that I know Dinosaur Island's trash, It's barely in my top 50.
Now that one's not going to even be in the top 100 next year. But, yeah, I was trying to think. I don't want to get too overhyped from one play. Because I still, even with, those poor play on my part, I really, really liked it. And I'm trying to think if, do I give it a 9? I don't know. I was thinking kind of 8.5 to 9-ish, I think, is kind of where I'm at with it currently. But it could definitely continue to grow on me for sure. It's, now that I know what mistakes I made with the first play, I could see myself really enjoying it even more with future plays. And just from the looks of some of those tiles, the expansion tiles, those look fun and unique as well.
They do.
And it looks like they maybe score some slightly different things as well. So it'd be interesting to kind of see how those add to the game. And I'm definitely wanting to try all of them for sure. And I do, you're right, definitely this one feels less restrictive than Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, and I think it needed to be that way, because it adds a little more depth in the actions you take, and especially on going through your park.
Yeah.
Definitely compared to the original, where you just draw meeples out of the bag and gain income off of that. It's a lot more depth here, so I think they really needed to make it a little easier for some aspects of the game.
But no, it's definitely a solid game, a great game.
Beautiful game.
A beautiful
for
game.
our all-in pledge, and even without it, I would think...
I like the art and stuff in the game more than I like the... Not that the cover is awful, but I think I like kind of the game laid out on the board better than the cover. I think I like... So if the cover turns you off at all, I think I'd still give it a chance.
It's not all like orange and silver stuff like that.
I think that was kind of worrying me a little bit too, because I don't know. Usually I like kind of that type of thing, but something about this cover, it just isn't my favorite. It's not the worst cover by a long shot, but it's just that I don't even remember if we might have said it in our first impression.
I think you've commented on it.
I think this one's probably third out of the 3
covers.
For me.
Yeah.
Which,
I like the
cover, still all good, but
yeah, the tiles don't really. It doesn't really mesh together that well. But I think they both look great. But yeah, the tiles kind of have natural, and that's one thing I really like, is that they have what they are in there. Like, they kind of have a landscape in the background of the tile and of the boards on the table. And again, this is a huge table hog.
This is just like its older brother, Dinosaur Island. This takes up a lot of room, so definitely be prepared for that. You need a huge table, because we just had it set out. We didn't even have any tiles at it yet, and we're like, Oh boy, and we were only playing 2-player. I can't even imagine playing with more players. I mean, you have to have a pretty big table,
Yeah.
for sure, and you almost have to start playing pieces on top of
Yeah.
some of the boards and stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For sure. I really like the look of the game.
Yeah, it's a solid game through and through. Anything else on it?
I don't know. I think we are going to have to do a ranking video soon of all these Dino games.
Boy. I think we're going to. We're going to have to go back and probably give this and the Roar and Write a few more plays, and then get back to playing Dinosaur Island a couple more times, and then give our thoughts on kind of how we rank them, and kind of pros and cons of each maybe. I think that'll be a video we'll probably do.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in a video like that, definitely let us know below with a comment. If you liked this video, definitely feel free to give us the old thumbs up. And also, definitely, if you're going to want to see that video, you're going to want to subscribe so that you
Turn on the notifications.
so that you know when we post this. That's the only way to know. Because I don't know that how else you would know. I doubt YouTube's going to recommend.
That's not your average tabletop.
But you never know. Possibly tomorrow they will. But yeah, that is everything we know about Dinosaur World from a first play.
Dino-rific.
It is Dino-rific.
And that's not horrific. That is terrific. I guess you're going to be taken either way.
They're going to take it however they want to. But yeah, otherwise we will hopefully see you next time. And as always,
Keep on chomping
on that content.